A review into the information passed on to the Home Office regarding the Rotherham rape scandal has found that the Home Office did know about the pimping and grooming of children potentially 12 years before the J report was ordered. A new review into the Rotherham rape scandal has been underway, and the report's just been released. I've been taking a look at it, and you can see it yourself online. And I've been reading through it today to see what exactly they found. And as I just mentioned, one thing they did find is that actually the Home Office knew about this scandal potentially 12 years before the J report was even ordered. Well, what is the J report? If you don't know about this already, you've at least probably heard about the Rotherham scandal, the Rotherham 1400, but the J report was an investigation that was commissioned by the Rotherham Council to look into that issue, and it saw Professor Alexis J reviewing the extent of child sexual exploitation, CSE, as well as the handling of reports that go back to 1997. That report was commissioned, or that review was commissioned in October 2013, and it was completed and published on the 26th of August 2014. And when it came out, it discovered that up to a minimum actually of 1,400 young girls, they specifically said it was a conservative estimate, could have been exploited between 1997 and 2013. It was one of the biggest scandals of our time. But what does this new report say? Well, essentially it's a review of reviews. The paper explains that on the 2nd of September 2014, the Home Office Secretary indicated that Peter Wanless and Richard Whittam QC would look at the process employed by the Home Office to review information passed to the Home Office in connection with allegations of child sexual abuse in Rotherham from 1998 to 2005. So specifically, this review looked at the information that was passed to the Home Office regarding child sexual exploitation in Rotherham. So it's a review of the methodology of the Home Office in determining the problem, and a review of the review that took place. And it asked multiple questions, and a few of the questions are: what information about CSE in Rotherham did the Home Office receive as a result of the crime reduction programme? What action was taken in response to any relevant information received? And what were the general circumstances of the Home Office's engagement with the Rotherham research project? So it's all fairly standard stuff that's designed to keep a government department in check, and it's all very fair enough. And the document provided lots of recommendations. For instance, it recommended that the search terms when looking through documents were narrowed down a little bit because too much information was gathered that wasn't relevant, yada yada yada. Boring stuff like that, but there's some really interesting stuff in here. For instance, in section 4.3 it says: as the reviewer recognised no comprehensive attempt to identify records outside the period of relevance to the Rotherham research project was made. In the course of conducting searches for the review, some information concerning child sexual abuse in Rotherham more generally was identified, and where it was considered by the reviewer to be of interest, it has been referred to in the internal review. The document also revealed that there were significant disputes between different agencies within Rotherham regarding the research project, but reading on, the document discusses an unpublished report from 2002, and this is where it gets really interesting. It says: the J report provided a detailed and wide-ranging consideration of the adequacy of the response of statutory bodies to child sexual exploitation in Rotherham. This has included an assessment of the work of Risky Business, an innovative child-focused project which from 2001 to 2002 participated in a Rotherham-based research project focused on targeting men who are believed to be responsible for pimping and grooming young people into prostitution. The document goes on to say that this project was funded by the Home Office under its crime reduction programme, meaning that the Home Office knew about CSE going on in Rotherham 12 years before the J report even was commissioned. And even then, this 2001-2002 project criticised the way that CSE was being dealt with. The former researcher even gave evidence to the J review in which she described an unwillingness within South Yorkshire Police to investigate those perpetrating sexual abuse against young people and protect potential victims, as well as her frustration that efforts to raise concerns with senior personnel were met with defensiveness and hostility. So the problem of CSE in Rotherham and the problem of the authorities not taking it seriously enough has been on the radar of the Home Office for potentially 12 years before the J report was even commissioned. The Home Office has been going round in circles, examining instances of child sexual exploitation, missing instances of exploitation, and closing down projects before their research has even been concluded. And a new review of investigations into CSE in Rotherham has found that the Home Office received reports that went unpublished showing pimping and grooming of young children in South Yorkshire and Rotherham. And the independent review has found that ministers failed to act on evidence putting children at risk. And the Rotherham MP, Sarah Champion, who succeeded the disgraced Dennis McShane, who said he didn't want to rock the multicultural boat while this child exploitation was going on, is now speaking openly about child abuse, and she's telling the press, why, when so many in authority knew the scale and severity of this crime, did it take until 2014 with the publication of the J report for a large-scale investigation to occur? How many lives could have been protected if swift action had been taken a decade before? Well, Sarah Champion, I quite agree with you, but your words just aren't good enough on this. It's disgusting that after the industrial scale of rape of children in Rotherham, under a Labour MP and Labour councils, that you, a Labour MP, were chosen to replace the disgusting and the disgraced Dennis McShane. The Labour Party has been systematically complicit in this crime all over the country, refusing to admit that there's a problem with grooming gangs from a particular section of society. And you know what I'm talking about. Sarah Champion, your words don't comfort me on this. If you want to do something, if Sarah Champion wants to do something, she can resign the Labour whip and speak even more openly about the real source of this problem, the real ideological and religious source. I encourage you all, by the way, to read this new report about Rotherham in full. It's enlightening. It shows systematic failures from our authorities and our ministers. And if this happened in Rotherham, and if this was covered up at such a huge scale, you can bet that this is still happening all over the UK. If you like that and want to see more, remember to like and subscribe and download the new Rebel app from the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store.